Hi, I'm Reyna, and I'm going to talk about the reflective analysis of student work for my student West. His overarching goal was to push a switch to activate an iPad screen that appropriately so that it might possibly open up a big role for him on the iPad. So the reflective analysis is a process and a tool to be able to break down the implementation of an IEP goal. So what you do is you take your goal, and then you look and see what objective or what is my lesson going to be about today that's going to lay the foundation for me to reach the goal. So then you have your objective, and then you say, and how I'm going to measure this objective, this lesson that we're going to have today. That was really interesting in breaking that down, because when we have to chart it and graph it, sometimes it's not very measurable or visual. So you have to make sure that your data is measurable. And then you write down the evidence, what happened in the lesson according to that objective. Was there learning? So when you have all that done, then you say, okay, I'm going to think back on this. According to the evidence that I've written down in the data, what does it tell me about the student learning, and what questions do I have about the student? Did they learn? Was there environmental issues that caused learning? Was there something, was his interest in there? So you have to really think about what questions about the learning can I ask? The second part is to say, okay, so now that I know that, what resources, colleagues, data from previous data, research on the internet to find new ideas, new behavior methods, whatever it is that you realize there's some little big gaps in the learning, you find those, and then you take those two sections and you say, okay, what's next? What am I going to do with this information that I have, that it's been micro-analyzed, and move it into my next lesson? And then that way you're actually kind of developing the objective for your next lesson. So that's how it works. And it is really very helpful to micro-analyze the lessons that you're teaching to your students. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and I will show you the data sheets that we used. So lesson 1, we were just backing down on his IEP to seeing if he could do the switch, which he did very well. There had been a break. So second lesson, we allowed him to play with the toy, and he had a lot of success with that. That was something that he had really strength with, and knew how to push the switch appropriately with other toys, but had still a lot of verbal prompts. Then we introduced the iPad to say, well, let's just see what happens. And it was not very successful. With a lot of physical prompts, having to lightly hold his hands down when we say wait in his verbal prompt. So, but the next day we went ahead and moved on, because he has the switch skill. So we thought, let's just start on the iPad. So we started on that, had a lot of verbal prompts, didn't have much success. He was really obsessed with the iPad, which we kind of expected that to happen, knowing him. But had a lot of verbal prompts, and he knows that one very well, that prompt. And then the next time we had 2 different sets of trials with a break in between, which was, we thought, well, maybe he's just getting overwhelmed and there's a break. So didn't have much success after the break, but it was something that we thought we needed a trial to see if he needed that, to have some independent play in the middle, and it didn't work. So the next one is this one is when we did we had the iPad and let him try on his preferred song, and then he had another preferred song that works exactly the same way on the iPad, and we tried that. In hindsight, it was probably really too early to introduce that, but this was 2015, and just was doing the best I can at the time, and but it was really an interesting trial with this student. He was a lot of fun and enjoyed that, and just have really gotten, even reviewing this a second time, a new appreciation for how much it makes you analyze exactly what you're looking for in the student learning, and what are you going to do next, what was successful, what wasn't, and in that way it is a very valuable tool.